Morning, everybody. UFC London weigh-in's about to get started here. Just a few minutes out. Went ahead and got the stream going. Sean Morgan here. I'll be reporting everything, getting everything updated. Simon Head sitting over here next to me as well. He's going to be chiming in while I'm busy processing photos and the like.
We'll try and keep the live stream rolling along. It's going to be, hopefully, John, a swift weigh-in.
It is. This is historic, hallowed ground here, site of the fastest weigh-in in MMA history. I don't remember, well, MMA history, UFC history. I don't remember exactly which card it was, if I'm being honest with you, but I do remember it was in this hotel. It was in this room, and it was 32 minutes. 32 minutes. So no heavyweights today, right? So maybe we could get one of those.
So now we've mentioned that.
It'll be 2 hours.
It'll be 2 hours.
They'll definitely add an extra hour to it.
Yep. Fingers crossed it'll be a relatively straightforward one. "13 fights on the card. Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal, headlining at £170. Of course, with it being a non-title fight, they get that extra pound. Everybody gets the extra pound, which I'm sure a few of them will be quite grateful for this weekend. So Till versus Masvidal is our main. Welterweights in the co-main as well. Britain's Leon Edwards against Icelandic grappling machine Gunnar Nelson. Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes is an absolute banger at light heavyweight. That could just steal the show on the main card. Nathaniel Wood is making his first appearance in London for the UFC against Jose Quinones. Danny Roberts takes on Claudio Hannibal Silva, who may be Brazilian, but he lives within viewing distance of the O2 Arena, so this is a home game for him as well. And rounding out the main card is the middleweight Battle of Wales, as Jack the Hammer Marshman takes on the white Mike Tyson himself, John Phillips. Plenty to enjoy on the prelim card as well. Arnold Allen returns to action against Jordan Rinaldi at featherweight. Mark Diakase versus Joe Duffy jumps off the page at lightweight. Nikolay Negumereanu takes on Saparbek Safarov at light heavyweight. Tom Breeze returns to action at middleweight against Ian Heinisch. If you've not checked out Ian Heinish's backstory, I thoroughly recommend you do so. Very, very, very interesting story. That'll be an interesting fight at 185. Danny Henry, who had a super fast win last time he appeared here in London, takes on Dan Ige, who's on a good run of form himself. That fight takes place at featherweight. And here we go. Dan Hardy's in the building, and we're about to go live.
All right. In the middleweight division, Ian Heinisch.
Right here. Fine. Thank you, Ian.
186? That was a 186, right?
Yeah.
Next fight to the scale, one half of your main event, Jorge Masvidal.
Toinen pääottelija Jorge Masvidal. Tuhkanäytöstä vain.
Right here, all right. Straight ahead.
Easy money.
Thank you, all right.
Next up in the light heavyweight division, Volkan Ozdemir.
So many cracks. Mas ela é uma
Thank you, Walter.
Next up in the lightweight division, Joseph Duffy.
Good head, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
The scales needs no introduction. Molly McCann.
Thank you.
Next up in the flyweight division, Priscilla Cachoeira.
A little bit of eyeballing there. See that? Molly McCann just sneaking a little, just a little extended look across.
Good gamesmanship.
Yeah, just. Liking the pace, 4 minutes in, 6 fighters done.
Next fight to the scale in the welterweight division, Leon Rocky Edwards.
Keep moving along. Keep moving along.
Keep on going.
Good head, Leon. Thank you, Leon.
Next fight to the scale, Hot Chocolate, Danny Roberts.
Yes, my mom.
Good head, Danny. Thank you, Danny.
I used to work in the bake shop.
Next fight to the scale in the bantamweight division. Jose Teco Quinones.
Comes the towel.
$135.5.
Go ahead and put your shorts back on and then get on the scale, please. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Stay off the scale, sir. Thank you. 5 seconds, please. Thanks, Jose. No problem.
Next fight to the scale in the light heavyweight division. Nikolai Negovanianu.
$204.
Straight ahead, Nikolai. Right here. 5. Thank you, Nikolai.
Next fight to the scale in the featherweight division. Dan Ige.
$146.
Straight ahead. You did work. Thank you, Dan.
Next fight to the scale in the featherweight division. Nad Naramani.
$45.5.
Thank you.
So 45.5.
Yeah.
Dangers of multitasking. Short-term memory gone.
Yeah.
Next fight to the scale, making his UFC debut. Mike Grundy.
$45.
Straight ahead, Mike. Thank you, Mike.
Next fight to the scale in the featherweight division. Jordan Rinaldi. Well, how are you? How's everybody doing? Lively crowd. Guess I'm not too.
45.
Straight ahead, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you. Next fight to the scale, the welterweight division, Claudio Silva.
$170.
Straight ahead, Claudio.
I'll draw.
Thank you, Claudio.
Next fight to the scale, the featherweight division, Danny Henry.
$146.
Straight ahead, Danny. Thank you, Danny.
Next up in the middleweight division, opening the main card, John Phillips.
$185.
Straight ahead, John. Thank you, John.
All right, we'll be a few minutes.
First break of the day.
14 minutes in, 17 fighters weighed in. No one's missed.
Not bad.
Everybody nice and clean so far. One towel. I think we had
One towel so
Jose
far.
Quinones needed the towel, but made weight with half a pound to spare. Probably didn't need the towel at all. But fingers crossed, we're looking pretty good so far. And we may be about to get our next fighter. Indeed we are.
Stand by.
Got it done.
Stand by. Morgan, did you hear that?
That's the ready standby, not the standby, which is the other standby.
Stand by.
Standby.
Next fight to the stage in the light heavyweight division, Sababe Safaro.
$205.
Straight ahead, Sababa. Thank you, Sababa.
Next fight to the stage in the lightweight division, Mark Junkie.
$55.
Straight ahead, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Stand by, stand by.
The things we do to keep ourselves entertained. All right, so if you're just tuning in, 9:17, so we're only 17 minutes in. Already a handful left at this point, man. We got quite a few in the deal already. Masvidal has weighed in 171 pounds. We have not seen Darren Till, so all week long we've been commenting on how lean he looked and how good he looked, but obviously no reason to worry right now. The man's got an hour and a half with no issue. Leon Edwards has weighed in. Gunnar Nelson hasn't. Full results up at MMA Junkie. Volkan Oezdemir has. Dominic Reyes hasn't. Jose Quinones has. Dan Newwood hasn't. The rest of your main card. So anyway, full results of the MMA Junkie. We'll have full photos and video afterwards if you missed anything.
The other positive thing about this, no one's looked bad on the scale. Everybody's looked very healthy. No one's looked too dried out. Sometimes people make weight, but they look terrible. Haven't really had that. Everyone's looked pretty fresh. Jordan Rinaldi tried to instigate a bit of a conversation, but that's not what we do at weigh-in day. He was like,
great. They want to talk to you. Like, well, we can't. Sorry, thanks. But,
he was like, it's a tough crowd. I guess I'm not Till, which I thought was quite funny. So by my count, I think we've got 5 or 6 to go. Is that right?
Is that it already?
I believe so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got 7, unless I missed.
There you go. Maths was never my strong point.
As if you were just like way off.
Yeah, well. Wrong is wrong, John Morgan. I'd like to take the opportunity while we're on it to wish you a happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
I'm sure that MMA Junkie faithful would.
Yeah. Got a boom mic in there. We're good to go.
41, John. Do you feel any different?
Yes. Tired. Well, San Fran, that's what a weigh-in is. I don't know exactly what we're supposed to do. He's like, hey, we're just staring at the scale all day. Well, kind of what we do every Friday morning.
Comes with the territory of weigh-in, doesn't it?
That's it.
If we were looking elsewhere, they kind of defeat the object a little bit. Shout out to Mark Ratner. I don't know if you've caught him on camera. I mean, most of the time during a weigh-in, you see the back of Mark Ratner as he's reading the weights out from the scale. But he's actually rocking a Clash t-shirt, London Calling t-shirt.
London Calling. Mark Ratner always got a little style.
Always a little nod to the host city wherever he can, whether it's his scarf choice or a branded t-shirt or whatever it is. And I know we complimented him on his t-shirt at the start of the day, and Dan Hardy, who's a huge fan of the Clash, was very, very pleased to see it.
All right, Born Mush wants to say, do you guys think that Gunny will win? I think I picked Gunnar Nelson in my picks, but man, it's just perennially undervalued, right? 6-fight winning streak for Leon.
Yeah, and he's not fighting mugs either. You know, we talked about it on the MMA Roadshow. He's Luque, Tumenov. You know, he's been in there with some legitimate people, and he's beaten them. Cerrone, obviously.
Yep.
I'm siding just with Leon. I think he may have the better all-round skill set, but I do think that Gunny Nelson has the equivalent of a knockout punch with that submission skill. If he gets on top on the mat, it's hard to see a way out from there for Leon. So,
and there was a question, I think it was Mepo Lep or something like that. Has Gunnar weighed in? Since we're talking about Gunnar, he has not weighed in yet. So Gunnar Nelson is still to weigh in. I don't think he cuts a lot of weight though. He looks like he walks around pretty close to.
Yeah. He's never looked like someone who's struggled with the weight.
So I said, Su Tang, I picked Gunny until I saw that jazzercise. Hey, come on, that jazzercise was incredible. I would pick him because of that.
Yeah, and
That
he's
was
got a track record of this stuff. Go check out his gym, Mjolnir, their YouTube channel. That's the first time they've shot a spoof music video. They've done Justin Bieber's "Sorry." They've done Michael Jackson's "Beat It," which is outstanding. And I think they did "Chandelier" as well. So he's done a few of these. But the call on me, Eric Pritz, was
Solid.
something.
It was
It
solid.
was something. I'm not quite sure what it was, but it was something.
Pure gold is what it was. Pure gold.
If it's viral, then it's viral.
Mark Fellows jumping in. Mark Fellows still got we're only 22 minutes in,
You're late.
but what we say, 6 left? 7 left. 7
Seven
left.
left.
Only 7 left. So if you want to get full results, go to MMA Junkie. Rob Simpson asking if there's free food for media, and if so, what are we talking about? UFC has come correct this morning. They got some pastries.
Yeah, I made an
Was it-
error.
There was a phenomenal little yogurt bowl there with granola and fruit.
Bit of blueberries.
Fantastic.
I went for what I thought was some sort of pain au chocolat,
Yeah.
and I ended up with some fruit-based thing that
Ah.
came as a bit of a shock to
Started getting chocolate. Terrible.
sugar hit first thing in the morning.
Any MMA media watching it. That's half of what we do is provide a stream for the rest of the media that's not here. Yeah, everybody's. Somebody asked how the Guinness pints are in London. I haven't.
Expensive.
Expensive. That's right. Yeah, we're in the financial district here in Canary Wharf. It is expensive. So we've been hitting up the Tesco and buying the Stella from the local Tesco Express.
Quantity, not quality, is the phrase that pays this week.
TJN, big fan. That's what's up. Much respect. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, everybody's mentioning Till. You know, look, I don't know if you've watched his interviews and stuff. I mean, he looks physically leaner this week, man. I mean,
Yeah, he does.
you know, obviously we're not asking him to step on a scale. We don't know what he's been, but he just looked leaner, had more energy this week. So we haven't anticipated any problems. But I mean, look, remember, we're only 24 minutes in right now, man. There's still an hour and a half left.
Yeah, look, you just have to check out his Instagram. He looks noticeably leaner. Doesn't look as broad across the shoulders for some reason. And he's had a haircut as well, which seems to make him look even smaller. It seems silly.
I know,
But
but
he's
it
had a
did.
buzz cut, and it seems to have made a difference. And he's had his teeth done as well. He looks like a walking advert for a toothpaste commercial.
Fantastic. The teeth are amazing.
Yeah.
Poetic. Was it Poetic Kane? Poetic Sin. I thought it was Poetic Kane. Like Kane Velasquez said, please don't forget to interview Ben Askren. Yeah, just so you guys know, Ben Askren is actually doing a Q&A this afternoon. He's just got in yesterday. Hasn't done any media yet, but he's going to be on stage doing a Q&A this afternoon before the ceremony weigh-ins, which I believe will be streamed. We'll try to stream it as long as the Wi-Fi stays up. But yeah, you can bet Ben Askren's going to have some comments this afternoon.
Is Ben Askren wearing flip-flops?
We haven't seen him, but I'd guess yes.
I think
I'd say
the bookmakers have closed the market on that.
Tristan, thank you. Much respect. Whoever's username is a dash, I believe.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Mark Fellows said, too bad JDS isn't there to sing happy birthday. That'd been nice. We'll just pretend last week was for me.
If Junior's got WhatsApp, then maybe he can hit John up and send him a little voice message.
We'll Colby Covington be there? I don't. Not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard he's going to be here.
I wouldn't rule anything out with Colby.
You never know.
Anything.
I mean, Masvidal's his boy. You know what I mean? So who knows?
It's not out the realm of possibility. I know we spoke on the road show. Check that out if you haven't listened to it already. So without spoiling the entire show, we did talk about the possibility that Kamaru Usman may have been here, and that didn't happen in the end for various reasons. And we sort of said at the time that if Kamaru had been here as well, then you would imagine that Colby would have jumped on the first available flight over. That's an opportunity not to miss.
All right, Dan Hardy, give us a call. Back to business.
Next fight to the scale, one of your main event, Darren Till.
$171.
Darren, go ahead and put your shorts back on and hop up down the scale, please. Very good, guys. Move the towel. Straight ahead, please. Fine. Thank you, Darren.
Thought he was going to be camped out for that shot. Sean Berry.
The signature middle finger there as well.
Defiance, that was. That was pure. That's for all you guys who said he was going to miss weight.
That's it. I mean, I mean, he hears the doubters. I mean, he hears it all the time. I mean, hell, in the chat this morning, people are saying, "Oh, he's not going to make it. He's too big. Can't do it."
He did it.
There it is. He's got the middle finger for you.
He looked better on the scale as well.
I thought he did. I don't know if the mic picked it up or not, but you could hear him talking just briefly. He was telling Ratner that he was at 171. Hey, how are you doing this morning?
Yep.
And the voice is, you've heard him before where he can
so
barely
dry,
speak. It's so dehydrated, he can barely speak any words. That wasn't the case today.
No, I thought he looked much healthier on the scale today. And that bodes well for fight night as well. If he rehydrates correctly. $20 fighters in the books. Looks like that UFC weighing record is still safe for another year, for another event at least. We are 29 minutes in, so unless we get an absolute
Just a rush to the scale.
deluge of people rushing to the scale. So who do we have left? We've got Dominic Reyes, or in running down in order of the fight card. We've got Gunnar Nelson still to come, Dominic Reyes still to come, Nathaniel Wood still to come, Jack Marshman still to come, Arnold Allen. Who else do we have? Tom Breeze, and that's it. Tom Breeze always used to struggle to make 170 pounds. He looks much more comfortable at 185.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect any.
Fingers crossed he should be okay. Dominic Reyes is very tall for 205 pounds, but he's pretty lean, so I wouldn't expect there to be any problems with him. Nathaniel Woods used to make in championship weight at 135 in Cage Warriors, so the extra pound is a bit of a luxury for him now he's in the UFC. Just checking out the comments on YouTube. Tony Lawton has Masvidal been KO'd before? He's not been KO'd, he's been TKO'd once, which is a remarkable record for a guy who's had 45 professional fights. TKO'd by Rodrigo Dam long before he joined the UFC. And it looks like, does it look like we're about to have some more? There's a bit of activity.
Stand by.
Here we go.
Next for the middleweight division, Tom Breeze.
Straight ahead, Tom. Right. Thank you, Tom.
How did that man ever make welterweight?
Just Arnold Allen left on the prelims.
Arnold Allen on the prelims. We've got Nathaniel Wood on the main card.
Jack Marshman and Gunnar Nelson.
Jack Marshman, Gunnar Nelson.
That's
It's knowing Gunnar Nelson, it's quite possible that Gunnar Nelson is just getting out of bed right now.
Yes.
He's the most laid-back man in the sport of MMA. He's so laid-back, he's horizontal.
You got it. Your line there. Got some love. Tom Brook, yeah, Till did weigh in, 171 pounds. Masvidal was 171 as well. If you want to see the photo, I actually was just working on that, so I got that uploaded to MMA Junkie.
John's gonna get one too.
We've got an impromptu photo shoot going on.
That's a pose right there. Ring girl would be proud of that.
We're going there now. I wonder when he's telling me.
Oh, you got the model in you. There's no question. Angie asked if Dana still wants to move the weigh-ins. I haven't heard that talk. I think he was the only one. I don't think most people in the company even wanted to do it, and definitely the fighters didn't. So that just kind of died.
You'd imagine Jeff Nowitzki might have
Had a little talk with him. Say,
said,
hey.
I understand where you're coming from, but because when it first started, we had a little spot of people missing weight, and a couple of fights were lost as a result. And I think there was a concern that it was costing them promotionally. But I think now the fighters are used to this routine now.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing people, he says, touching wood, holding on to his rabbit's foot, all this stuff.
Yeah, so we have had a pretty good run lately.
We aren't seeing people miss weight at the same rate that perhaps we did when the early weigh-ins first came in. So it's one of those things. People are getting used to getting up first thing in the morning or very early in the morning, doing that final cut, losing the last few pounds, and then coming in and weighing in first thing in the morning. And you're getting more time to rehydrate yourself afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get better performances in the cage on fight night. You've not got people going in there still dehydrated. So Sutan Clan says one championship weigh-ins in the move. Well, they don't technically have weigh-ins.
Yeah.
They test the fighters throughout fight week. They test their pee for gravity to check they're not dehydrated. They've got levels of gravity that the fighters have to stay within, and also they have the weight that they have to stay within as well. So you've got to hit weight throughout fight week within a range, but you also have to be hydrated, and to change to that model, I think, would be excellent. But implementing it with all the athletic commissions across America, and you only have to look at how differently the unified rules are operated from state to state to know that trying to get that sort of weigh-in process into North America would be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and I'm not trying to pick on one championship because I applaud them for trying something different, but I have heard people point out that it doesn't seem as transparent. Like, even though
you don't see them weighing ever.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
So I think that's one complaint maybe that they, and it sounds like they're going to expand to North America next year. So maybe they can address that then. Is that, if that's the system, okay, cool, I like that, but maybe it needs to change a little bit to where at least people can see it.
Yeah, I think the situation that you've got with one, the theory behind it, I think is sound. I think in terms of transparency, what we have here in America and in Europe, I think this is probably the best solution right now. It gives the fighters the best opportunity to rehydrate, but it's close enough to the fight that, fighters aren't going to balloon up enormously between the weigh-in and fight day. Although Darren Till will be pretty big on fight night.
By the way, I missed it. Who said it? But I think they were alluding to the fact that you said they test for gravity in the urine, and they said, well, what if they pee in space?
Well, that would be difficult. That would be a very messy thing.
Shout out to whoever that was. Thank you, Santos. Appreciate that. Please adopt me. I'll have to pass on that one, bro. I got one kid. That's all I can handle. Oh, in cloud. Is that John Gooden talking? No, that's Simon Head. But I could see the.
We're both from the southeast of England.
Yeah,
I can understand
I
that.
see the similarity.
John Gooden is considerably more handsome and better dressed. That's why you never see me in front of a camera. Has Gunnar weighed in yet? No, he hasn't. He's one of the few that we're still waiting on. Nathaniel Wood being another one. Jack Marshman being another one. And Arnold Allen. I think that's it, isn't it? 4 left.
Yeah.
Gunnar Nelson, Nathaniel Wood, Jack Marshman, Arnold Allen. And Dom Reyes. Haven't seen Dom Reyes.
By the way, see, earlier they asked if we were going to stream the face-offs. This is not, even though this is a fight night event, there are actually ceremonial weigh-ins this afternoon, so the face-offs will not be immediately after. So, yeah, we'll have a stream it later, but that'll be, like 5 p.m. local, I think, so there's ceremony. I did just get a message from PR as well. I mentioned Beskran and Joanne Calderwood, our guest fighters. We do have interview time set up with them today, which I didn't even know, which is great. So we'll have something out before the Q&A tonight as well. So keep an eye for that. I'm sure people want to see that.
Saw a question a little bit here. I think John Marato. Why does Dom Reyes not get the respect he deserves? This could be the weekend he gets it.
That's it.
This is a big fight for the light heavyweight division. It's a huge fight for Dom Reyes. He's had a great run. He's undefeated. He hasn't fought a very top level guy in the UFC yet. He will on Saturday against Volkan Ozdemir, who's been in there with some of the very best at 205.
Well, we kind of talked about it earlier in the week. You know, UFC 229 was supposed to be potentially a breakout party. Now, I will say that fight wasn't the most incredible. It was a one-sided fight, but it wasn't the one that makes you go, oh, you know, amazing. It didn't have that amazing moment. But of course, then we know what happened after UFC 229, and that stole a little bit of his shine, but or all of his shine, because that's what anybody was talking about was Khabib Conor afterwards. But here, this could be a moment, you know, a featured fight for him. So, you know, I think he starts getting in that discussion. He has a big win here over Volkan Ozdemir. Then you start putting him in that discussion, you know, at the very top with the who's next, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get that much time with him on Media Day. Media Day, you don't always get to see, you only get to see us talking to the guys who are sitting on the stall with the name plate next to them. What you don't see is the chaos in the room, and it was pretty chaotic on Media Day, and we just managed to literally grab a couple of quick questions with Dom Reyes. Even in that quick time that we had with him, he made it clear what he wants. He wants to be the guy to beat John Jones, and he knows he's got to win a couple of fights to get there. But if he gets an impressive win this weekend, he could be as one fight away from a shot at the gold. Because if you look at how that heavyweight division's set up right now, if he's fighting up, if he beats Volkan Ozdemir, he's going to have basically 2 available options, I think. Corey Anderson is probably the most likely. But Thiago Santos, if he's not thrown straight in there, Jones next, if they look to do something a bit bigger with John Jones later in the year, then Thiago Santos might need a fight. And Thiago Santos versus Dom Reyes, if he gets past Ozdemir this weekend, would be a hell of a fight at 205.
Get this Twitter video out. Our man added Saban back there in the back. Let's get the on Twitter. right, just sent out that tweet. So if you're looking for highlights, at least of the main event, check the MMA Junkie Twitter. Abby Saban cut it down to Till and Masvidal. And then we'll have a full video highlights and photo a little bit later after everything's complete. Sorry, David Green, we got to work at the same time. So they need to put me in a proper 12 advertisement. Cool. Down for that. Pretty much anything. Cold beer, whiskey.
I'm not.
Griff asked me to stop binging on beer and chips. I don't eat a lot of chips, but I will the beer. I'll admit that.
Does he mean chips as in American chips?
I don't.
Or English chips, because they are very different.
Either way.
Fries.
Either way.
Fries. Pufferoo, that's TMI, my friend.
All right. Well, look, if you're just tuning in, it's 9:49 a.m. locally here in London. Only a handful of fighters left in. By my count, Gunnar Nathaniel Wood, Jack Marshman, and Arnold Allen are the only ones left to weigh in.
Domino's.
Oh, Dominic. Skipped right over his name. Apologize, Dominic Graves. 5 more. Yep. 4 on the main, Arnold Allen on the prelims. If you're looking for a full result, you can go to MMA Junkie. We've got the full results there. But Darren Till, Masvidal, 1 step. So go there in your main event. There is a highlight of that on Junkie Twitter. So leave those two guys. We'll have full weigh-in highlights and photos later. But it's an hour and 10 minutes left to go. So for those left to weigh in, there's certainly no danger at this point or really concern. People just don't want to wake up that early.
Jordan English, no, Nathaniel Wood has not weighed yet. He's one of the 5 still to go.
See Dan Hardy sneaking around the corner over there.
He is. He's teasing us. Appreciate it, John Morata. That's kind of you. Cloud, wish Dan Hardy would fight.
He always teases it. He's like
keeps
one
it.
more. So like one more right name, the right, but he's doing pretty well for himself though.
He has absolutely no need to.
Sure.
He has absolutely no need to. The interesting thing I find is there's a generation of fans now who only
know
know
him as a
Dan as a
commentator.
commentator, and he was one of the most badass fighters to come out of the UK. He's one of the pioneers. And here you go.
Next to the stage, Samuel Wood.
Straight ahead, Nathaniel. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Quick sighting of a couple of UK MMA legends side by side. Dan Hardy with Brad One Punch Pickett, who will be in the corner for Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood's first ever UFC fight that he watched in person was at O2, and he watched Brad Pickett fight Neil Seary
awesome.
at the O2 in 2014. And now he makes the walk to the Octagon on Saturday night with Brad Pickett in his corner.
That's pretty cool.
Former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion Nathaniel Wood, 2 fights in the UFC, 2 wins, both by submission. But he's predominantly a striker. Very exciting fighter, Nathaniel, the prospect Wood. I asked him if he would ever consider changing his nickname if he worked his way up the ladder, and he said he's printed too many T-shirts to do that. So he said, I'll change it when I become champion, but I've got too many T-shirts to sell.
That's funny.
There's a guy in the chat with no username, and he's just said Brexit means Brexit, lads. It's a bit of a sore topic. We don't want to be talking about that.
Oh yeah, it's right in the middle of it right now. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole load of pain. Is Brad going to slap Nathaniel before he gets in the cage to wake him up? He does it every fight. Every fight, he gets into the prep point, he gets ready, and Brad Pickett slaps the living daylights out of him across his face before he gets in there. And he doesn't hold back Pickett. He properly clouts him. Has Jorge weighed in? Yes. He was the second man on the scale, 171 pounds. Darren Till, also 171, so the main event is official. No one has missed weight. A couple of towel sightings, but no drama. 4 fighters left to weigh in. Gunny Nelson, who faces Leon Edwards in the co-main. Dominic Reyes, who faces Volkan Ozdemir. Jack Marshman, who takes on John Phillips in the opening bout on the main card. And Arnold Allen, who's in the featured preliminary fight against Jordan Rinaldi, who's already made weight at 145. Steve Sparks says some amazing fights on this card, probably like 6 or 7 coin flips. I think that's a fair comment. I think, we were talking about this yesterday. It might well be, in terms of strength and depth and the quality of matchmaking, the strongest card we've ever had in London. We've had more high-profile main events, but I think looking at the card top to bottom and the matchmaking, I think it might well be the strongest card we've had here in London.
I'm looking to bring my wife to the show.
Well, you know when they showed me pictures? Yeah. Yeah.
So John, give us an under the radar fight that the guys on the stream should be looking out for Saturday.
Ooh,
There's a few.
there's a couple, man. Well, yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about the main event. You know, we talked about it on the MMA roaster last night, but the prelims I'm definitely looking forward to. Diakaze versus Duffy, I think just stylistically should be a lot of fun. Diakaze's kind of reinvented himself, moved back to England for his training, and then of course Joe Duffy's returning from a long time away, and I think stylistically that could be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Tom Breeze and Ian Heinisch as well. I think those are the two prelims that I'm most excited for.
And it's interesting actually. Diakaze came out to weigh in. He used to train at ASW, which is a gym up north here in England, where his head coach is a guy called Darren Morris. There's another well-known British coach by the name of Darren Morris, who is, or was, Michael Bisping's Muay Thai striking coach. And it was him standing there with Mark Diakaze. So he's a superb striking coach. So he may well have been coached by two Darren Morrises in the lead up to this fight. Daz Morris, he goes by on social media to differentiate between the two.
That's funny.
But Daz Morris, he's been a pad man and a striking coach for Michael Bisping for years, and he's one of the best. And that encourages me for Diakaze this weekend. He kind of lost his mojo a little bit when he went over to ATT. I don't know whether he quite got the training that he wanted, or it sort of changed his approach a little bit. I'm crossing my fingers that we go back to the spectacular Diakaze that we saw against Timu Packalin, which just looked like a guy playing a video game. One of the most spectacular performances from a British fighter I've seen in the octagon in quite some time. But against Joe Duffy is just such a polished striker, good boxing fundamentals. He's been out of action for a while. It'd be good to see him back in the mix. He's one of the sport's genuine nice guys, and however that fight goes, I see that being one of the most exciting fights on the card.
Stand by.
There we go. That's a Dan Hardy call. Sorry, David Green. Unfortunately, I'm editing photos and stuff too. We're multitasking here. I wish all we had to do was chat. Yeah.
Next to scan the light heavyweight division, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah.
206.
Straight ahead, Dominic, right here. Right here. Thank you, Dominic.
That's the man who's very excited to be fighting here in London. He's very up for this fight against Volkan Ozdemir. Dan's keeping us primed and ready. There could be another fighter in our future very soon. Looks like we're going to see Arnold Allen.
Right to the scale, Arnold Allen.
45.
Straight ahead, Arnold. Thank you, Arnold.
Number
Two left. Gunny Nelson, Marshman and Nelson.
Yeah, Gunner. That's it. Somebody call his room, wake him up.
A bowl of granola or something. Or muesli. He's had muesli in us. Scandinavia. That. The big takeaway from Arnold Allen weighing in, he's lost the tash. He shaved the moustache off.
Yeah,
I thought
that was a look.
It was something. Yeah, it was. I think he lent it to Niall McGrath, the Irish journalist.
Niall sporting a great mustache this week. Currently hip thrusting, need off the last few pounds. I dig it.
Now, I don't want to tempt fate, but if you remember rightly, 2 years ago, Jack Marshman had problems making weight for a fight against Brad Scott, and the fight was put. And Brad Scott was very unhappy about it. And we did an interview with him on MMA Junkie.
Yep, I remember that.
So it will be interesting to see how Jack Marshman goes this time round. He's fighting his usual weight class, 185. Former Bama Lonsdale champion. Former paratrooper, an army boxer. And a man that just to have this habit of getting involved in tear-ups, and he's going to be facing a guy who loves nothing better than to have a tear-up in John Phillips in a back to the Welsh middleweights. we may be about to Gunnar Nelson.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gunnar Nelson.
$170.5.
Straight ahead, Gunnar. Thank you, Gunnar.
.68 minutes have elapsed, and we've got one fighter left. The Hammer, Jack Marshman.
War Machine said, you know you're hardcore if you're watching from the States at this time. Yeah, that's if you're watching from the States right now, you are definitely hardcore. 6. Oh, David Green's from Texas. Ooh, that's not even East Coast time. Well, it's 5 o'clock in the morning there. Oh.
Las Vegas time, 3:10 in the morning.
Ooh.
Steve Sparks, Marshman fights the hardest fight for him to pick.
Ooh.
Harder to pick than a broken nose, John Morgan.
Oh, man. Oh, no, I respect the UK fans. Everybody's saying we watch the fights at 3 a.m. Yeah, I get it. Trust me. We talked to Simon Head, Abby Saban, our boys over here. It's good for you guys to get a show at local time. Every weekend at 3 a.m.
Yep. 11:45, fight past prelims. 1 a.m. TV prelims. 3 a.m. main card. And that's just if you're watching it. If you've got to write it up afterwards and do the post-fight presser. I normally go to bed on a Sunday at about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Brutal.
I have to try and sneak up to get in bed before the kids see that I'm awake. Otherwise, I have to just go through. Then I have to stay awake, and I'm an absolute mess by Monday.
It's brutal, man. At least those are fights, though. If you're up at 3 a.m. to watch dudes in their underwear, that's hardcore. It's hardcore.
It's a tougher sell. I'll give you that. 6:10 in Miami. Get an early breakfast
Whoa.
and wait for Jack Marshman like the rest of us.
Damn, I'm ready for some coffee. Hopefully Marshman's back there. Okay. Sounds like the towels are going to be neat.
I heard the dreaded T word.
All right, so here should be our last fight.
Last man up. Very quick note, these two gentlemen with the towel were given a towel tutorial just before the weigh-in started. Here we go.
$188.
Straight ahead, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That concludes the weigh-ins. See you at the ceremonial ones in a little while.
Cool. All right. So we're just done.
Yeah, 7 hours. And we'll find out what the fine is and
relay that on. Okay, awesome. There you go. So he will not continue to cut weight. We'll get the fine announcement. Just a quick side note there. People say, wasn't it 20%? I always say this, if you're a fighter, there is no
Negotiate.
standard fine amount. Yeah, you
Negotiate.
can negotiate. So if your opponent misses weight, say you want 50%, say you want 80%. See what they settle on. So we'll find out what the official fine amount is later, and then we'll, anyway, ceremony weigh-ins, all that good stuff.
I'll tell you one thing. I would be beyond surprised if John Phillips didn't take that fight. This is a fight he's called for years. As soon as Marshman was signed to the UFC, Phillips was on social media saying, "UFC have got to sign me. He's not the best. He's not the best middleweight out of Wales. I am." And we're going to find out on Saturday night. So I don't think for a second that Phillips is going to turn around and say, "Do you know what? I'm not going to take this now." He's done his hard work. He's made weight. He just wants to get in there and fight. And he's a wild man, John Phillips. So that's going to be one of the great fights of the night, I think.
There you go. All right. Look for up at MMA Junkie. We'll have photos, video, all that stuff coming to you very soon. Appreciate it.